Okay, because of this thing, I can see. I will project you. You will see your I'm a theater person. How is it now? Am I fine? Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Ayobami Olajumoke Ononuga. Thank you for joining us. Good morning. So this is the panel on filmic decoloniality, comedy, digital skits, and popular culture in Africa, part 2. We had a part 1 yesterday, and I just want to quickly go through what we did yesterday. And also to say that one of the we have good news for this panel. I mean, things are looking up. I don't know whether you guys know Professor Tony Ada from the United States. He was at the panel yesterday, and he said he actually has a book proposal, an edited volume proposal for this panel, and then he wants us to collaborate so that we can have one of the top publishers publish works from the panel. It will be an open call, so it's not just limited to the people presenting at this panel, but for everybody that is interested in digital skits. But then the communication will be made known later on. So, I mean, it's good news because, I mean, it's not just enough to present. It's always a good idea to also have good publication for the presentation. So, yeah, having said that, yesterday we had three out of 4 people present, and the first person was Tioluwa Lugolakunbi Black, who talked about how far is too far, framing the African church in selected comedy skits. And if I have to go through what he said, it's not here today, unfortunately, he had to go back. He talked about, 3 categories of Nigerian evangelical skit makers. I mean, I didn't know that such categorization would exist. So it was good that he really expounded on it. So he talked about the liberalist, the evangelist skit makers, talking about the Mount Zions, all the kind of skits they do. He talked about the liberalists. They are still evangelical, but then they still want to reach out to a larger audience away from their church groups. And he made example of Moromolu Watike, a skit maker. And then the third group was the commercialists. And that's where he had the issue, because people like Woli Agba was seen as a commercialist, and he felt that they were desecrating the gospel, and the sacredness of the gospel was being watered down with their skits. So that was what he was asking, how far is too far? So some of the comments that came from that panel was that you should not read the comedy in a puritanical way. In other words, you should look at the art and not look at all the other signs and symbols. But I was saying that, yes, we need to look at the art, but can we really look away from the semiotics, from the signs, from the symbols? I mean, if something is sacred to me, if I have some sort of emotional attachment to my religion, for example, and you desecrate a symbol of my religion, why should I not feel offended? But then they were also, it was a very interesting panel, and who were also arguing that, I mean, you need objectivity, as a researcher. You cannot be emotionally attached. Anyway, it went on, and the next paper that we also looked at yesterday was on, okay, so the second presenter was not around. He said he was at the NYSC camp, and then he was doing his NYSC, so he couldn't come. Yeah. So, but then we had Jane Obasi of the University of Nigeria talk about rhetoric and Instagram marketing vendor. And then so her work is not really about digital skits, more about Instagram vendors, right? And then she was talking about, Aristotelian theories in the appreciation of Instagram content. I found that very interesting. And she talked about ethos, pathos, and logos. Logos being content or adverts that appeal to your reason. When somebody's trying to sell something to you and it's appealing to your reason, then she talked about pathos, which is appealing to your emotions, and then ethos, which is appealing to your character. But then she was also faulted on the grounds of, okay, so she said she's going to use 30, or she's used 30 Instagram content. And they were asking now, what was the basis for the selection of the 30? Well, apparently she could not fully explain why. I mean, people were trying to give her suggestions, but I hope that once she takes suggestions, the paper will be strengthened. And then the third person was not here physically, but she recorded and sent her work to us. And ours was on gendered contestations in comedy skits. And then she was looking at the objectification of women in comedy skits, how the woman, the male gaze is the entire content, But then she said it's a work in progress, and then we are hoping that by the time she finishes, it will be a good paper. And that's Helen Uga, Dr. Helen Uga. All right. So today, actually gave some background yesterday, but I don't want to waste our time on that right now. I want us to go straight into this. If we still have time, then I'll go through the sort of background and questionings and musings that I have about this panel. But today we're having 3 presenters, and I think we should be giving them 12 to 15 minutes each to present their papers. So we're going to start with Ayobami Olajumoke Ononuga. Are you ready for us? And she's going to be presenting.
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. She's going to be presenting the Female Body and Performative Agency in Nigerian digital media. Yeah, media. Thank you. A round of applause for.
Good morning, everybody. I want to share my screen first. Okay. I am Dr. Ayobami Olajumoke Ononuga. I am an independent scholar. I hope everybody can hear me very well.
Loud and clear.
Thank you very much, ma. So I will be presenting on rewriting the female body and performative agency in Nigerian digital media. I have to say that this is a work in progress, and I intend to expand on this later on and look more than the YouTube videos that I'm looking at presently. In my work, I am investigating how female comedians redirect masculine gaze from female bodies and these bodies' perceived weaknesses to the capabilities and strengths of female bodies. I am studying the web series of Bimbo Ademoye titled Sibe on YouTube in order to highlight the ways she attempts to portray the female body as agential and capable, as against the sexualized and dependent portrayal of our male colleagues. I am sorry, my cursor is hanging a little bit. Okay, yeah, I'm here. This is my outline. I have it here, the motivation for my present study, then the other things I'll be studying.
Okay. Doc, do you want to do what's it called now?
Do I want to do what?
Yes. So you need to we need, so the screen is given the presenter mode. I don't know whether you can share it in such a way that it can be bolder.
Oops.
Hanging. Okay.
It was hanging. Can you see now I'm on the motivation for my study?
No, it's still on the main, the first page. So that's what I'm saying. If you can use the what? Yes, turn it to slideshow. Yes.
I'm already on the slideshow, so I don't really understand what's going on presently.
Is she the one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it better now?
Yeah, the from the beginning. Well, I also went to the beginning now.
Look at that.
I'm on the outline presently. Can you see the outline?
No, we can't. Maybe we should go on and then hopefully.
Huh?
Okay, you want to reshare?
Yes, I want to reshare and try to see what's going on.
Okay. Okay, great. It's okay now.
Okay, so this is the outline, the motivation, and I'm going to talk about the female body and the online representations by male comedians. Okay, can we see now I'm on the motivations, the representation of women in Nigerian cultural productions? Are we on the same page?
Yes, we are.
Okay, thank you. Yes. So I am doing this study because we still have persistent patriarchal renditions of female nails, and this still persists in cultural productions that we have, either written, though presently now we have women writing against these patriarchal renditions and rewriting how women should be perceived. But I noticed that we still have these in other cultural productions, and I'm looking into skits and web series and other productions by male comedians. And I've noticed also that to counter these narratives, we now have women, though they are still in the minority, trying to rewrite this image of the sexualized and money-grabbing and dependent woman. This is a quote, a kind of phrase from that I brought out from Staten Allison's book, Embodiment and Aesthetic Impulse. She says that the body places the woman as agent, struggling with a body that is constantly constituted by historical and social forces in an impossible bind, and one that is curiously disembodied in its construction of what it means to be a woman. Different studies have examined the portrayal of women in skits by male comedians. Ibukunfilani and Adeoti Oluwatomi discuss Mr. Macaroni's deployment of stereotypes on women's body image and social roles. They place emphasis on his male character, Dadiwa, in many of his skits. Dadiwa always engages in extramarital affairs, becomes jittery and aroused whenever he sees provocatively dressed females, especially women whose bodies are voluptuous. He generously transfers substantial amounts of money to these women's accounts. It is important to note that Dadiwa is not concerned about a woman's mental or moral strength, as long as the woman's body pleases his masculine gaze. Roland Amafula, Chinwedu Akalonu, and Louisa Ha, in their different works, also note how the comedy skits of other male comedians like Sidney Stoker, Brother Shaggy, Nasty Black, MC Lively, Nedu, and a host of other males situate women as objects of male fantasies. They draw attention to the use of sexual language, the high presence of sexualization, objectification, eroticization, thingification, and commercialization present in these productions. They argue that these projections reinforce gender stereotypes and inequality. and they continue to undermine women's dignity, subjecting women and girls to physical, mental, and emotional ills. From these images, we can see Dadiwa. This is Mr. Macaroni's protagonist. This is one of his most popular skits, surrounded by women in different episodes of his work. This is what he does. A married man who actually goes into infidelity, and he's not ashamed about it. And this is how he encourages women, anyway, his characters, to dress up to show how their body is. So this is Bimbo Ademoye, the woman I am studying her work. Born on February 4, 1991, Bimbo Ademoye is a Nigerian actress, content creator, comedian, influencer, model, and YouTuber. Since she started her acting career in 2014, Ademoye has been known to feature in different films, and she has earned the celebrity status because of her popularity as an actress and skit maker. She actually won the Best Actress in a Comedy or TV Series at the 2023 Africa Magic Viewers Choice Awards, called AMVCA. And her YouTube channel has more than 600,000 subscribers. I am focusing on Ademoye's web series, Sibe, because of its content and because Ademoye has the hourglass figure, as you can see on the screen here, figure that her male colleagues portray in their body-based productions. She has actually been featured in one of Mr. Macaroni's Dadiwa's series titled A Game of Fidelity. I read Sibe series as a form of talking back to and rewriting patriarchal stereotypes about female bodies. Bimbo Ademoye's Sibe series is built on the characterization of our protagonist, who calls herself Sibe Sibe Oluwambe Pelumi Adoalaka, a humorous, down-to-earth, and hardworking young woman who looks for lucrative job opportunities, even when she has no qualifications or requisite knowledge. In this web series, which is 8 in total, Ademoye persistently showcases a woman who actively seeks job opportunities and who is in direct opposition to the commercialized, sexualized, and dependent woman characterized in the works of her male colleagues. For this work, I'm going to use Chimamanda Adichie's liberal feminism, and I'm going to draw insights from Judith Butler's theory of performativity. Calling herself a happy feminist, Adichie's feminist views include the engagement and education of boys and men about the place of women in the society. This brand of feminism, which emphasizes inclusion and awareness, speaks to how gender constructs are harmful to both men and women. Constructs that reduce women also reduce and place burden on men. The performance of the body and the ability to make choices for men and women should be fluid and unlimited. Our perspectives on the need for women to be in the position to make choices about their bodies and move beyond narratives and social constructs will help my discussions on Ademoye Sibe's web series and how Ademoye uses Sibe to teach men and women the harm in gender constructs and limiting female bodies. The summary of Butler's work that stands out for me is that gender as biology should not be used by the society to assign rules and expectations that will govern individuals. In her theory of performativity here, she talks about the fact that woman or man does not really need to be about the cultural construction of their bodies. So on my presentation, or my discussion presently, I'm going to talk on self-presentation and assertion. Under this, we have owning female spaces, focus, and self-confidence. I have 4 videos that I had already purposely selected because of their content and form to discuss these realizations. I want to play the videos and I hope that they will cooperate with me. Okay. Hopefully they will play, but if they don't play, let me just touch on the two that I have here. The first one is Sibe talking to her father about trying to learn the work of a carpenter. And her dad talks about her body, that has she ever seen a woman trying to be a carpenter before? Is she going to carry her buttocks up the ladder to be nailing rooftops or doing her work? It's a pity that I don't know what is going on. I don't know why these videos are not playing, and they are very similar to my discussions. But I just go on. Just like I said, this particular video that I'm talking about Sibe's discussion with her dad, talks about how her dad, a man, describes Sibe's body as a limitation to what she wants to do as a profession. And she tells the dad that she knows that she is capable and that her body will not limit her. And she confidently tells her dad that she's going to be the first of her kind to do this. In a way, she's opening up the conversation that women can do whatever they want to do, and their bodies also have agent. Their bodies are agential. The second video that is also not playing is Sibe going to a manager's office, trying to be a cleaner. And the man is telling her that he doubts her abilities, especially as Sibe doesn't have any requisite knowledge about being a cleaner. And she tells the man that she has done a whole lot of jobs. She has been a mechanic, she has been a carpenter, she has been a dispatch rider, she has been in different spaces, and her bodies had never failed her. So I don't know why it is also not playing. Maybe it's because I'm sharing my screen, but I tried the videos before this presentation and they played well. But I just have to move on so as not to waste our time. So in these videos, we see her as a woman that has focus, that is self-confident, and owning female spaces. Even if they are in male spaces, she's owning those spaces and she's showing that she is capable in everything she wants to do. Yes, and this other one too, I don't know if the videos are also going to play, but if they don't play, I'll also go on with my discussion. They are on contesting capabilities of the female body. Sibe goes ahead to also, in another episode, to work as a bodyguard. She's going to oversee the security of a fellow female. And from the beginning of this clip that I caught, and which is also not playing, the camera captured Sibe from below up to her top to show how she is dressed and what she looks like. And this is how her boss looks at her. And she asks her that, are you the one that is going to replace Bobo? Bobo is the former bodyguard and is actually very capable, maybe because he's a man. But Sibe tells the boss that she shouldn't look at her body, that she knows that she can do the job very well. Actually, before Sibe goes ahead to accept the job as a bodyguard, she had already subjected her body to physical training to be able to adapt to the job's specifications. So she tells the boss that she's capable. She shouldn't look at her body, that a woman can also do this job comfortably. The other clip too, that is also not playing, is about Sibe's attempt to be a mechanic. She is seen in a mechanic workshop, trying to be an apprentice. And immediately the Oga sees her. She tells the person that brought Sibe that, why are you bringing a fragile woman to my workshop? This one cannot do anything. Subjecting Sibe's body to be fragile and useless in his workshop. And Sibe immediately dashes to the man in a kind of attempt to show him that she has the physical capacity to do whatever it is that his workshop calls for. So it would have been very okay if these videos play. But in these two videos, we see Sibe rupturing social expectations talking about the fact that our body is not a limitation to what she can do or who she can be, subverting the traditional expectations of what a woman should do or the spaces that they are expected to occupy in the society. So I have established earlier that the skit productions of male comedians has a fixed structure of what it means to be a woman, a money grabber, a materialistic woman who uses her body and to get whatever it is they want to get. But here we see that moving from this construction of the female body and emphasizing that the female body can have agency and a woman has choices, Ademoye presents a deconstructed body in Sibe, a body that moves beyond a single identity category, a body that refuses and prefers a body that refuses to be gendered, but prefers to be in different spaces at different times. Sibe's body performs in different spaces, in different capacities as fluid, playing roles traditionally ascribed to men as mechanics, carpenters, dispatch riders, conductors, and bodyguards, while also using the same body to perform roles ascribed to women as cleaners, waitresses, maids, and teachers. Though these socially gendered jobs could require a particular body type and physical presentation, Sibe subverts these expectations. Ademoye runs up our series in episode 8 titled The Mechanic to teach men how to approach and treat the female body when Sibe's male colleague attempts to physically assault her. Ademoye creates awareness on the nature and forms of sexualization and disrespect to the female body often overlooked by Nigerian men. Ademoye's viewers, who are mostly women, are also encouraged through the web series to present their bodies in public spaces as non-conforming to gender stereotypes and restricting narratives about the female body. So in my conclusion here, we can see that the digital media, specifically the YouTube series that I looked into, continue to be a space for and an archive of the negotiation of selfhood and the redirection of masculine and patriarchal gaze. My study intends to extend scholarship on Nigerian female artists and comedians and their negotiations of masculine spaces in Nigerian cultural productions. I intend later on, if I can, to try to interview Bimbo Ademoye, if I can, to support my claims on what our web series are talking about. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ayobami Ononuga. We really appreciate that. Thank you for that. I think we should engage your work immediately while it's still fresh. So we can do that in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Do we have comments from the House? Anybody?
Maybe I actually got to go to an idea yesterday. That's it. Maybe I have to access comments together.
Yesterday?
Yes,
Which Friday? Okay, so usually I do things to Thank you. So do we have any comments for her? I'm just curious. I'm a little bit curious because I know Bimbo is a female and she's maybe unconsciously or consciously fighting some of these stereotypes, about the female body. But then there are skit makers such as Taoma, who sometimes switches and plays Babatao. And you see her also objectifying. When she's in the male character form now, objectifying the female body, even as a female herself. All right. Even some of Kiki's skits, Kiki is also female. we see the objectification of the female body again, bum, this, that. So one is just curious. I mean, having that interview may be a very good eye opener. I mean, the interview you think you're planning to have with Bimbo, it would be a very good eye opener to know whether she is deliberately, deconstructing some of these narratives, or maybe it's just a coincidence. So that's just my own contribution.
Actually, I understand where you're coming from, and this is one of the reasons I decided not to use Tahoma and Kiki. Bimbo might not know that this is what she is doing, and I might be the one reading to it. But for somebody to have a web series of 8 episodes, and in these 8 episodes, we have the first one, the bodyguard. I think the second one was the carpenter. She had another one, the mechanic. I think another, yes, the last one was the mechanic. She has another one, the dispatch rider. And these are male spaces. And she adds to go ahead, even to teach fellow women, like her boss in the bodyguard, that she shouldn't reduce her body to what she's saying. Maybe the breast or the bum, maybe she might think those ones will hinder her from working, that she shouldn't think about that. But she is capable to do all this. And it's a pity that these video clips did not play. If they had played, maybe you would have understood what I'm trying to say, because the character, Sibe, is actually very intentional. You could see that kind of self-affirmation of what her body is and how she wants that body to be treated when she talks to the other characters in her web series. So that even if it is not intentional for her to have these 8 episodes in a particular... There is another one where she was a conductor in Lagos on Molue and fighting and working effectively in a male space. So I might interview her and she might say that she wasn't, she didn't do this knowingly, but this is what her heart is saying. So I think this is the response I can have for this presently.
Thank you so much, Dr. Onanuga. Do we have more comments from the house? But you need to move closer to the microphone. Oh, you can take it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. Okay, I'm Dr. Chemelo Bona from Pan Atlantic University. I just want to ask certain things. Nature, sort of differentiated between male and female. And somehow, even in the fashion and attitudes, you find that man looks at the body of the woman for sexual purposes, and I mean, it pervades every dealing in life. And also, the physique of the woman does not usually have, should I call it, the strength and power for certain physical jobs. That means they are not actually naturally suited for those jobs. Is it really necessary to insist that women do those things when naturally maybe they were not designed for such? I don't know whether my question went to.
Okay. Should I respond?
Go ahead. You have a response, please. Go ahead.
Thank you so much for the question. I have to say that apart from being a researcher in gender studies, I also research in queer studies too. And for what you just said, I have to accept it as it is. We don't see women as women because of their biology, and we don't see men as men because of their biology, because they are just social constructs. Whatever it is we are saying are social constructs. It's true, the XX or the XY chromosome might give us differences in our outlook and maybe in the kind of hormones that work in our bodies. But we have seen over time that there are some bodies that subvert all these constructs. How do you talk about a man who is feminine in everything he does, even in his look, in his work, in his voice, and in his projections about life, even in his sexuality? Not all men look at women in a sexualized or eroticized manner. And not all women also do the same. We've seen women who have gone beyond these boundaries of saying, this is what a woman should be. If we can go ahead to read works on Judith Butler and a whole lot of other theorists on the body and how the body performs, we will see that it's more than our view of what the society or what cultural expectations have restricted us to perceive the bodies. I don't want to say more than this so that I don't waste our time. But women can work in any space, men can work in any space, and they shouldn't be restricted.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Oh, okay. 1 minute. Okay.
Okay.
No, she needs to hear you.
Okay. I just want to add to what she said actually regarding social constructs and all that. In the society, and then according to the feminists, it has been registered that the society has seen that men are the norm. I'll keep saying it. And women are deviating from the norm. There is nothing stopping anybody from attempting to do a particular thing. If that is what you feel you want to do, why not? If you're a man and you feel you want to be a nurse, imagine a man saying, I want to be a nurse, and then it will be stereotyped. Are you a woman? Why would you be a nurse? And then you see a lady saying, I want to be an architect. And then her dad will say, come on, that's not supposed to be your field. Go and be a lawyer or go and be a nurse. Please, I think we need to, at this stage, we should try to look away from stereotypes. We should try to look away from the social norms that are not really the case. I think that's what I have to say for now. Thanks.
Say your name so that.
My name is Abigail Rebecca of Obafemi Awolowo University.
Thank you. All right, thank you very much. Dr. Ayobami, I think we have to draw the curtains on your presentation and move to the next person.
Thank you very much.
But I want to thank you for a very well presented paper, well researched and well presented. Thank you so much. So please still stay tuned so that you can be a part of this, the rest of the panel, all right? Okay, so quickly we'll go to the second speaker or presenter for today, impersonal Mojirayo Patricia Oyebami from Joseph Ayobami University, and she will be presenting visual semiotics and mimicry with prominent skills, including non-verbal language. So I would invite, okay, she can stay there.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, you want to say? I think this place is better than This is a round of applause for her.
No, you're the one who sent to the
No.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, the chair. Thank you for the opportunity given me to present this work. My name is Mojirayo Patricia Oyebamiji from Joseph Ayo Babalola University. The title of my work is A Visual Semiotic Analysis of Mimicry in Comedy Skits. The key words here are comedy skits, mimicry, and visual semiotics. When we are talking about mimicry comedy skits, they are associated with the entertainment industry. And then over the years, humanity and entertainment, they share, the very strong connection, because as humans, to live and to enjoy life, we are bound to be entertained. When we are after the stress of the day, after the ups and downs, when we are entertained, we feel refreshed and we move on. So it's a kind of therapy for us to be able to live life. So apart from the fact that this entertainment actually has a kind of health therapy for us, it's also, we are still in introduction. The first introduction. So apart from the fact that this entertainment serve as therapy for us, they are also express our culture, express our tradition, like music, dance, art forms, and so on. So over the years, the entertainment industry has undergone a lot of transformation. Next slide, please. Lots of transformation from traditional way to, during the traditional method, we go to film, cinema, theater, TV, like that. But nowadays, we now have entertainment has been brought from traditional way to, digital age, where we can take our phone, go to social media and watch, all these comedies, and then we will be entertained. And this is what brought what we called comedy skits. Next slide, please. This is what brought comedy skits. What is comedy skits? Comedy skits have brief humorous performance aimed at entertaining and educating audience. They are kind of short clip within 10 to 15 minutes play, and it will make sense, or the comedian will try to pass across the message. So, Ojomo and Soja in the 2021 note the shift of comedy skits from traditional to social media like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, where personality, this advent of social media actually brought out initiative from us. So some of the people that do not even know that they have this humorous vibe. If you take your phone, you just record yourself, do some things and send it online. People would like this. People will be like, you are good, you are talented, and all that. So a lot of works I've done on comedy skits generally. We have Ogba 2021 worked on linguistic aspects of comedy skits. We have Oposi 2022 worked on phonological aspects of comedy skits. We also have Obasi and Malefa 2022. They use stylistics in analyzing comedy skits. We have Deutsch and Makide 2022-2023 respectively. They worked on semiotic aspects of comedy skits. These works have deepened understanding of cultural communication and humor's social impact. So why comedy skits have extensively explored from these, different perspectives. My present work is a kind of deviation from the existing work, in the sense that there is what we call mimicry comedy skits. So what is mimicry comedy skits? They are kind of the real actual life events that these comedians will now bring out, act them out, and create humorous from them. So this present study explore mimicry comedy skits and then using semiotic theory. So the study aims to bridge the gap, showcasing how semiotic concepts can be effectively used to analyze and interpret mimicry contents. Please, next slide. So the objectives of the study are to identify and categorize the types of signs used in mimicry comedy skits, investigate the specific visual elements such as costume, makeup, gesture, and setting that contribute to effective mimicry in comedy skits. Next slide, please. Next slide. So the method used for this study, the research makes use of descriptive qualitative approach. The primary data are 6 selected mimicry comedy skits. They were purposely selected and downloaded from TikTok sites. When I say purposely, they were purposely because I was looking for the theme or thematic message that the comedy skits is trying to pass across. They were transcribed from video clip to written text, and the pictorial aspects of it were screenshotted and edited accordingly. The parts of the data that are not English were translated because we have some that are Pidgin, we have some that are Yoruba language, so they were translated into English language. And the analysis was done using Peirce's visual semiotic theory to construct visual elements in selected comedy skits. Next slide. So what is I've talked little about mimicry. Let's go to our conceptual theoretic. It has to do with imitating somebody, a personality or an event. So semiotics is the study of signs and symbols as elements of communicative behavior. Sign is an entity. Sign could be anything. It could be word, it could be images, it could be objects, it could be gesture that are refers to something else. Semiotic examines signs as vehicles which allow human beings to represent their word. For example, if I do like this is a sign, and the person that I am doing it is to, we definitely understand. So we have 2 fathers, founding fathers in semiotics. We have Ferdinand Saussure and then Charles Sanders Peirce. But I am using the parts of semiotics that of Charles Sanders Peirce. Next slide. Peirce introduced 3 types of semiotics. We have icons, index, symbols. What is icon? Icon sign has to do with resemble or imitate an object. For instance, a photograph imitates a personality, the personality that is inside the picture. That is what iconic has to do with. While index is a sign that indicates or points to presence of something. For instance, if we see smoke from somewhere now, we quickly sense that maybe there is a fire or something around that place. Why symbols has to do with the sign that represents something through conventional or arbitrary association. For instance, I was named Mojirayo. They just picked Mojirayo. I could have as well named something else. So this is tree. It's an arbitrary name. So, and society has actually possibly agreed that, okay, this thing will be called tree. They can as well name it something else. So that is a symbol. Next slide, please. Now, before my data presentation and analysis, I will want you to see a sample of the data and see what it looks like. Please help me play the No, it's not that one. The other one. I think now. Okay. So this particular scene is acted by Funke Akindele and the comedian. So what they are acting actually is a real life event, a church program with a real life pastor, in which the pastor So this is what we are talking about. This is example of mimicry that we are trying to talk about. These two comedians actually acting or mimicking a pastor, a real pastor with a real message that happened in real life events. So let's analyze their posture, look at the big Bible, look at the big microphone, the very big skirt like that of Mommy Gio, and look at the person that is trying to prophesy for, looking like a woman who is helpless, who needs spiritual help and all that. So that is our data. And the next slide, please. Next slide, not next. Since it's not showing, so let's move on. So based on our framework, we are using three types of signs from Pierce, the one that Pierce actually propounded in terms of iconic. Yes. Is it the next slide after? Okay. The comedian gestures, such as hand movements with big Bible and facial expression, mimic those typical used by pastors during prophetic moments. Then the comedian attire, long skirts, visually resemble what pastors wear. The tone of voice, speech patterns characterized by a solemn, authoritative tone and dramatic pauses iconically represents the mannerism of a pastor. Next slide, please. So, talking about the indesical sign, we have prophecy, an example of prophecy, papa, prophesy, papa. The phrase is an indesical sign pointing directly to the context of a church setting where such prophecy are expected. It also suggests a relationship between the speaker and the religious environment. We have another instance of indesical, which talk about God said, I should tell you. That is, this actually indicates a kind of a divine authority. When the listener hears that it is God that is talking, of course they will want to obey and understand and adhere. So in this case, the concept of giving a prophecy is a symbolic on its own. It's a symbolic sign on its own. Rely on the cultural and the religious understanding that contain individuals like pastor. So next slide. So discussion now, talking about the whole discussion of it. So discussion. So from our findings, we were able to get effective parody. The comedian effectively uses iconic identical and symbolic sign to parody the acts of prophecy in a church. Then we also have humor and recognition. The physical mimicry and vocal imitation creates an immediate resemblance to a real pastor, making the skit humorous and easily recognizable to the audience. So the next slide, conclusion. So this study was able to analyze mimicry comedy skits using semiotic theory of Charles Sanders Peirce. The comedians skillfully mimic personalities such as religious, political, and social. I want to say this here. The sample data I gave is just a sample answer. So we have like 2 or 3 from my analysis so far. I've not finished the analysis, but from the analysis of so far, I have gotten 3 themes. We have political, we have where someone mimic Tinubu, that Egbe Bopamo, Egbe Naira Pamo, Amadigo, Amawole. So I analyzed that one. Then we also have some motivational speakers. It's here, but it's not showing. So the finding reveals that effective mimicry hints on the interplay of this sign to evoke recognition and connection with the audience, enhancing the comedic impact. I want to also I say this, that I met a friend here the day I came here, in which two of our kids are actually mimicking a pastor. So I've collected that data. So I said I'm going to add it. And so the 2 kids, maybe 3 to 2 years kids, and the first one says, let's do pastor or let's do church. Okay. Oh, the first one said, okay, what are we going to do today? The other one said, okay, let's do church. And they started, if you see the character of the small girl, the art, very big. I love the data. So after this work, I'm going to hide it. So thank you very much.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much. Please need to engage the world quickly.
Well done. Well done, Mrs. Oyebamiji. Nice presentation, nice collection of data, but I just want us to add to what we have. The one you used now is Funke. Can we still get another one so that we can add it? Let it be bulky. When you are giving the next presentation, or when you are trying to wrap up the next project, it will come out very, very good.
Yeah, well done. She mentioned that she's still a work in progress and she's still going to add more. So do we have more comments?
Well, along the line of what you are saying, you find that some of these mimicries, you have various versions of them. It's like they usually get the audio, and then they play along with it. So you can analyze up to 3 of the same and compare them.
Yes. In fact, do you want to make comments? Go ahead.
I just want to add that. I am Flora Yedele, and I want to commend the presenter for a well presented paper. I want to add that I think she needs to also project the essence, the essence of the work. What is your goal? What do you want to achieve at the end of the day? Okay, having analyzed all this, what is it adding to scholarship? So I think you just need to also project more on that so that you understand.
More comments? Okay, Dr. Ibami, please go ahead.
Okay, Dr. Yemamiji, well done. It's nice to see your face again. I enjoyed your work a lot. And as you started, I was expecting that maybe you start with Sweet Okpe. I don't know if you know her. She's actually one of those that started this mimicry. I think she started 2020 during the lockdown before any other person started. So I
Sorry,
think
I didn't hear that. What did you
Sweet
say?
Okpe, Sweet Okpe. Do you know Sweet Okpe?
Okay, yes.
She's an OAP, but she does this TikTok mimicry a whole lot. She started 2020, and she also used the religious theme. And this is one of the most interesting parts of your work, and which I think you should be able to open up more on. Why the religious more than the other theme? That is it for me, because I know that it's more on religious gatherings and preachings and maybe prayers. I think it's just of recent that the political one started with Tinubu, our president. Yes. One thing that stood out for me and which I want clarification on, especially when you want to fleshing this up in a written work, is to let us know where the mimicry is coming from, and is it majorly on the voice or the dressing? Because if I'm going to look into Sweet Okpe's work, she already has the voice and she's just using her actions and her props to ridicule, because I can see the ridiculing coming from those works more than any other thing. They are ridiculing whatever it is that a pastor has said, or whatever it is they think that that congregation stands for. So that is the mimicry about the voice or the props or the other items used by the skit maker, because left to me, they are just giving visuals to the original speaker's voice. I don't know if Funke Akindele and I think that is Chioma Hakpota, if they now use their voice, their own voice in your own data. So if that is the case, I don't see mimicry in the voice. I can just see them using the original voice to project whatever it is they are projecting. So that is just it for me. So I just want you to fleshing up this maybe later on in your work.
All right. Want to respond to that?
Yes, you are actually right. What we are trying to look at here, it's a semiotic work. So we are more of the visual aspects of it, the gesture, the dressing, and the posture. But we are in language. We cannot, the research is a language-related study. We cannot, analyze that without the main content. So the two of them go together, but the main thing that we are talking about here is the physical and gestural of it. Thank you.
If I can add something quickly. Thank you, Dr. Mamuda. Thank you so much for that intervention. So if I can add something quickly, I think that your work is really good, and I think, but you need to be bolder, because you're doing a very good work. So I don't think you should just say it's mimicry, which is very broad. I think you should be bold enough to be able to theorize and say, this is what
there is a mimic theory. I've not had that one. I'm trying. I
hope I can create a theory out of this. That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean by bold.
Okay.
Provided you can give very, very good literature review to back it up. You can actually create, because it's not just mimicry like we've always known it in theater, in film, and what have you. It's lip syncing on social media, right? So it's a very fresh kind of area. So if you have enough literature to back it up, you can actually be bold enough to theorize it and lead the way in studies like this. Thank you. Thank you so much. So we will quickly go to the spot and find us today. A person of Chiemela Obona from Atlantic University, who is going to be talking about social media skills and the decoloniality of African films. The round of applause for her.
Oh, dear.
We have 15 minutes.
All right, let's start. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, like she said, my name is Dr. Chimen Obona from Pan Atlantic University, Lagos. And the title of my presentation is Social Media Skits as Channels of Decoloniality in African Content Creation, a study of select Nigerian cultural skit makers. The abstract examines the role of social media as channels of decoloniality in African content creation, focusing on select Nigerian cultural skit makers. Drawing upon theory of decoloniality, the research interrogates these skits as sites of resistance against dominant narratives and hegemonic structures. All right, I just want to point out that, somehow, I'm an advocate of decoloniality. Maybe that was why when I asked the first question from the first presenter, I was looking at the fact that in most cases, Westernization has taken so much hold that we tend to follow their reasoning so easily at the expense of what should be. And for decoloniality, we are advocating that, this Western standard of knowledge should be questioned. It was given to us as a kind of colonialism. The colonialists infused a lot of inferiority complex on Africans, made them believe that they were not good enough. That was why they had to come to show them how to live. So because of that, a lot of our cultures that are so beautiful have been pushed aside. And, when we Africans look at those cultures, we look at them with disdain. Whereas there are so many beautiful things in the culture. So the colonialities is advocating that we look back to our knowledge base, pick the things from our culture that are wonderful and present. The case of what is happening in the music world now is a good example. We find our musicians being bold to incorporate African music into the music system. And they are making waves and conquering the world. So we believe that, if Africans can do that in every sphere of life, we have a lot to offer the world. So now, as a form of introduction, I will just give a little overview of the history of filmmaking, because I'm associating with that. It's a very general knowledge, but then I'm looking at it from a kind of skewed perspective. You talk about video industry in Nigeria. You find out it was a kind of out of necessity. The celluloid was the main recognized film style, film technology. But because it was too expensive, technology came to the rescue and brought in video. Nigeria's latched on it. At the beginning, they were looked on with scorn and all that, but as time went on, the video technology translated to digital technology, and eventually those that were worshiping the cellular technology had to switch to digital technology, and at the end of the day, like Nigeria now appears to be the pioneer of the technology. At the same time, you find that now social media is coming up again like a game changer, because with social media, you have a lot of reach, and the production space is sort of democratized, so that they can always, somebody can just pick a phone, record something and put it in the social media, and it goes viral worldwide. So we find that these social media artists now are kind of blazing the trail because they have faster reach, than even the conventional filmmakers. So I'm looking at the activities of these skit makers with respect to our culture, and then in relation to decoloniality. In essence, they are projecting the African culture, which is the major basis of decoloniality. And when you talk about decoloniality, there are similar terminologies and studies. You have decolonization, you have post-colonialism, and then the decoloniality theories. So all of them is just like some kind of stages of development. Decolonization has to do with diverging of power, taking out, it's more political, taking out power from the colonialists. While post-colonial looked at the fact that it was not just a matter of gaining independence, having political territory, but that the colonialists had implanted some forces that still operate. All right, that still operate. Okay, so in that sense, I picked up that post-colonialism, the coloniality, because it focuses on. Take the next piece.
7 minutes.
7 minutes, okay, no problem. Okay, the coloniality theory emphasizes the need to center perspective, histories, and epistemologies of formerly colonized people. This involves recovering suppressed or marginalized forms of knowledge. All right, that's for move to the on. So the objective of this study is basically to assess the cultural contribution of the skit makers, identify elements that make them channels of decoloniality, and assess their potential for changing the Nigerian cinematic purview. Move on. And the method I use is what I call ethnographic content analysis. I sort of purposely selected some of these skit makers from TikTok and Instagram. And the major criteria I used were predominant thing that has to be on culture, especially culture that, things that promote and push forward the African culture, and then how wide the reaches are, and then the consistency in their production. Move on. And among them, we picked up these ones. I must confess that it's still work in progress. There are other parts of it that I've not done yet, but then I have this Omoba from Instagram, Charity Kezie from TikTok, Wisdom, the comedian that from Instagram again. Then Only One Daddies and Mascot Uzoma, Fufu Culture and other. They are just selected. I picked them because of what they are doing and the kind of confidence they are showing in portraying African culture. And even though some of them are not typically the, should I call it local African culture, they present the current Nigerian culture and push it forward. So from the analysis, like I said, I intend to do a kind of focus group discussion over them, at least to corroborate whatever, to be sure that maybe other people are seeing the things the way I see them. And then what the findings are that they are promoting Nigerian cultural representation, they are fostering cultural pride and identity, they are bridging generation gap, because some of them, the technology, that you have the Gen Z and the older generation, some of their content try to merge the two cultures so that there'll be a kind of synergy and understanding among them. And then they are driving cultural conversations and inspiring creativity and innovations. So at the end, we are looking at the fact that, even though the conventional film production is the main thing now. The chances are that, you know, the way the social media are operating now, even though they are short skits, you find that even to produce those short skits need a lot of, you know, creativity and ingenuity. And also the fact that they are so bold and not, you know, sort of, should I call it, don't have any inferiority complex in projecting the African culture, unlike the, you know, those who have already been indoctrinated into that inferiority complex. So it's now pushing up. And they are placing them in the forefront. That is placing them in the forefront of decoloniality. The boldness and pride in their culture might just be the thing to sell African culture to the world. You know, like I cited before, the music industry, Nigerian music industry is doing that already. Already making waves. So I believe that if the filmmakers in Nigeria could, you know, focus on presenting the aesthetics of African culture. Majority of the people that show African culture in their films sometimes show it from a negative perspective because they don't have that, you know, they believe that everything African culture is diabolic and all that kind of stuff. So they don't show it with that kind of pride and all that. But if the filmmakers can, you know, sort of remove all the impediments that the colonialists have implanted in our brains and start looking at our culture with objectivity and, you know, with pride, I believe that it can help maybe push the Nigerian film industry to a higher place. So that's better.
We need to engage with data. We have comments. Okay. Please introduce yourself, ma. And make your comments.
Okay. Professor Emeritus Uchazi, University of Nigeria, Nsukka. My comment is this. I'm very happy that there are people who are coming up to make us understand that the missionaries or the colonial masters did a very bad job on us, on our culture. We will remember when the Queen died and she was being buried. I saw a lot of things that I was shocked. I saw a dog being dressed up, and it was a part of the burial function, dressed up and led from somewhere, going to wherever. When Charles was being coronated or whatever, there was a time in the church, there was a guard, everybody covered, nobody saw what was happening. These are some of the things we do here, and they say it is fetish, it is diabolical, it is this and that. I want us to come up, people like me to come up, please, and let us make sure we make our the new generation, that what we learned from our missionaries are wrong. In most of our cultures, they see us, some of the things we were doing that were very interesting, even up to this moment, they still see it as fetish because it has been there in us. Most of our new pastors and Baba D and Papa Mama D, they are continuing from where the missionaries stopped. I don't see why when somebody sneezes, you say it is your forefathers. What happened to the missionaries that their father came here and bought our fathers as slaves, bought our mothers as slaves? What is their what is happening to them there? But whatever happens to it, they say it is your grandfather, it is your mother who did this and did that. So I want us to continue in this line so that we try to tell our new generation that please, everything we have on ground is perfect and good. Our culture is good. Please, thank you.
Let's check. You have more comments? Please introduce yourself.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Elizabeth Anthony, Ignatius University of Education. That was once from UNN. I'm glad to hear my mama talking here. All right, thank you very much, Dr. Bona. I came here with all excitement, as in expecting so much. I know a lot has happened, but I was looking at maybe some pictorial this thing to explain, like these kids, they should do it this way, something like that. So I thought maybe it's a practical something that you can see some of those things beyond the talking, the verbal talking. I would have learned a little beyond the talking. You mentioned music. Thank God I'm a music line. Yes. So I was thinking you can also use that comparison via the picture or a music, like this person's music. They have done this, that. I will have understood it better what you're talking about skateboard. However, maybe more training will come. Yeah, so you just wrap the thing and you've not shown me the example. Thank you very much. All right. Okay.
Thank you very much. I'm Sarah Sally, and I'm coming from Makerere University, both the Gender School and the African, the Arua Institute for Center of Excellence for Identities in Africa. And I'm a person who follows Nollywood quite a lot. And of course, we do watch the skits. We always, in Uganda, we talk about having your daily Nollywood dose before you sleep. And I'm just amazed. And one thing we never understand as Ugandans, and which you have not touched, is on the portrayal from those skits. Okay, it could be film, but we normally watch the 5-minute, the 10-minute things because we don't have time to watch a whole movie on Mnet. So, or Netflix. So what we do is, for me personally, as a person who interfaces with that kind of media and who follows Nigerian film industry quite a lot, is what I don't understand is the mismatch between real life in Nigeria and some of those skits. The theme that comes out a lot in those skits for us outsiders is one, the whole level of violence, domestic violence. The girls are being beaten up. The man is having multiple women, and then the whole issue is it's not what you think or whatever. So it's just the screaming, the poverty, the inequality. So you get a different theme. And then as a feminist scholar, I always ask myself, so where are the women, for example, Oyewumi talks about in her book, where are the women Ifi Amadiome spoke, because when we were introduced into feminist studies, we were introduced into Nigerian literature for the African side of things. So people like Ifi Amadiome, male daughters, female husbands, and things like that. So you have a different line from research where you have powerful Nigerian women who are the trailblazers for women's empowerment on the continent. And then you have these skits where women are just like either body parts or sexual objects for male entertainment. Or if not that, and you then also have very many good Nigerians who are very evangelical priests. They are doing a lot of social justice on the continent. What do the skits give us? It is either these men are cheats, these men are beating up their wives, these men are doing all kinds of funny things. So I've always wondered why you don't get the theme of a good Nigerian in those skits. I know it's being done for entertainment, but when we take that as a promotion of African culture, it's a bad sell for Nigeria, as a bad sell for Africa, because every community has good people and bad people. So it can't just be bad. So, and since we're talking about decolonial studies, and we are the ones making the skits, it's important that we engage. It looks like we have internalized what the missionary, what the colonists told us about a Nigerian, and that's what we want to sell to the world. But if we have to go the whole way decolonial, we also need to unbundle that. Tell us stories of good Nigerians doing good things. Not every Nigerian is a thief and a sex pervert. So it is that kind of thing. So thank you.
Thanks so much for that. Do you want to respond or should just take more comments?
All the like lectures don't do that. You get treated about it. So those are the people I want to protect. They are the ones that are actually pioneering the coloniality that I deserve. Like I said, because of the influence of the colonialists, a lot of Nigerians have developed that inferiority complex, and they have that tendency of presenting our culture in the most negative way. That is why you have all these rampant things from Nigerians. So we are advocating that we stop that and look into our culture and then project the aesthetics of African culture.
But then the bad eggs get more views.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, that's why, yeah.
All right, thank you very much, sir. My name is Stella Ibanji. I'm a journalist and an independent scholar. Thank you. I was looking at something from the ethnic group because now and then we hear the Western, but they don't go deep into the culture itself. Now you have mentioned some names, but I want you, sir, to add more because we have more of them. I'm from that side, so I know what I'm talking about. We had more of them since it's a work in progress. Then I want you to look at your scale of selection too. Yes, the people you are using, look at your scale of selection. Then, sir, don't you think that skit making on social media is making the Nigerian film go in extinction?
Go in extinction?
Yeah.
Actually, that was why I said, you know, increasing, that's sort of increasing the thematic purview. Like I said, you know, just like celluloid evolved into digital technology, who knows, maybe in the future, films can be rated only in 5 seconds, 5 minutes, like she mentioned, you know. You may not have time to watch all the 3 hours. So at the end of the day, this type of skits may take over completely.
Thank you so much. My own engagement is just, I'm just looking at some of these contestations about, you know, decoloniality, because there is the trapping of modernity. You understand?
Yeah.
So, and culture, we were told, you know, states. So, how are you going to navigate these places? What? Let me land. I know you're. So, okay, for example, now you say, okay, we should go back to our roots. We should promote Africa. Professor said there was some sort of ritual going on during the death and the coronation and all of that. But then what we have now, we have language associations, we have, I mean, what are you going to call culture now in the present? Do we have those cultures preserved somewhere, just waiting for us to come, open them and grab them? Or have the cultures changed? The ones we are calling culture now, what is it? For example, someone will say, oh, ladies now, they expose their bodies, this is not our culture, this is not, but then I was reading History of the Yorubas by Samuel Johnson, and I saw that way back, Yoruba ladies they just tie something there, they leave everything there. Yeah. If I have to, for example, as a filmmaker, present that now, how will it be accepted, or do you understand? So in this contestation, we also have to look at modernity, the role of modernity in decolonial studies. Decoloniality it's okay, it's necessary, it's important, but we also have to look at I don't know whether you can call it because I think the conversation, I mean, most of us are from
for the benefit now.
Okay. But then in 30 seconds.
All right, actually, you know, like the coloniality we're talking about now is not like the older scholars, you know, like you do what you do. They are the ones that want to go back. No, we're not saying to go back. We're saying merge.
Okay.
Go back to the knowledge base. Don't look at them with inferiority complex. Look at them objectively and extract the aesthetic. That's what musicians are doing. You combine conventional Western music and bring African and jam it together, and you create something wonderful. That's what I expect from the other.
But then now, you also need to be, like I said to our other panelists, you also need to be a leading voice to tell us what brand of decoloniality you're preaching. So that we don't continue to fall into the pit of someone saying, "Oh, what's decoloniality? What's culture? What's that?" So when you come up to a strong voice, you say, "This is exactly what you're saying." To be clear to everyone. I want to thank everyone for coming to this panel. I really appreciate you all for coming, and I hope you had a very good time. Thank you for your contributions, and enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.